Hi, this is Celia Chouquet of Y. Pharma. I have the great pleasure to be interviewing today Jan Geissler, a leading patient advocate in CML, chronic myeloid leukemia. He's been working on the European level for many years, bringing forth the cause of CML patients in Europe. Jan also is the founder and leader of two of the main e-patient forums on the disease, one in German called Leukemia Online.de and another one which is called the CML Advocates, which is a global online network. Jan, I'm so happy that you took the time to be speaking to me. And what I really would like to know is, as a first question, is are e-patients in Europe actually different from US patients in the way they use the internet? What difference do you see in that?
Well, I mean, social media and internet use is growing heavily over here in Europe as well. I mean, the usage patterns are probably a bit different, as probably European patients are a bit more cautious about their privacy, and that's why they're trying to keep their identity in terms of, for example, having cancer and their private identity with friends separate. And that probably impacts the use of social media like Facebook. So I would say Facebook is probably more used to do awareness campaigns from e-patients towards the healthy public rather than towards other patients where they would need to connect to other patients and disclose to all their friends they have cancer, just as an example. And of course, language is an issue between countries. You have 23 different official languages in Europe and 27 member states. And that's why, let's say, the e-patient community is more fragmented than in the US, where you have a single market with a single language. What is very heavily used over here are still old-style forums, because that's something people have been used for a decade or so, and technology works quite well, also in conjunction with email notifications and so on. So I would say that is quite heavily used. And also blogging is very popular and many patients use that over here. But still the audience is smaller just because of language.
You just spoke about the importance of internet forums in the EU for patients. Could you tell us a little bit more about that? Who runs these forums, for example?
No, I think many patient organizations run online forums or distribution lists or email reflectors or Facebook pages or whatever, depending on the disease and the severity of disease and so on. So I would say the patient groups themselves are running these online platforms. I mean, those that speak English often use those also in the UK and the US or in Singapore or wherever in the world. But I would say, yes, patient groups are mostly running these online forums.
One final question from me, Jan, of course, is around pharmaceutical companies and how they can engage with e-patients online in Europe in particular. So what is your opinion on that? Should pharmaceutical companies try to engage with patients online in Europe? And if so, should they go about it, and what role should patient advocacy groups play within that engagement?
No, I think they need to engage with patient groups because the regulation in Europe is quite strict, and let's say there's more reservation of pharma providing information directly to the consumer, to the public. And I think these restrictions basically have cause a big difference to the information that is provided in the US directly to the lay public. But on the other hand, patient groups really have a need for information. They need to know about trials, they need to know about trial results, they need to know about, let's say, disease management, about diagnostics, about all these different things. And quite often it's very difficult for patient groups to hunt down the information. For example, which trials are open in their own country, what are the trial sites, what have the trials delivered at the end, and so on. And I think pharma should cooperate with patient groups to get their insight into the design of trials and to disseminate information that they can themselves decide what is relevant for their audience.
Thank you so much, Jan. This was a very interesting interview. I learned a couple of things. First, Language has definitely changed the game in Europe for e-patients. Information is much more fragmented, not available on the same level in each language. Also, forums still seem to be the main place where patients go to inform and discuss, and these forums are usually those of the traditional patient advocacy groups we have here in Europe, which for pharma basically means that collaboration with these patient advocacy groups is the way to go to create engagement with e-patients in Europe. Thank you so much, Jan, for taking the time to be sharing this with us, and please stay tuned for more e-patient interviews to come.